Okay. All right, we're going to start off, guys. At first, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the company because some of you are aware of us, some of you aren't. Company's called Sean Healy Presents, WeBookBands.com. We have been around since 1996. It's been a long time. It's been a long journey. Started out booking local bands at local clubs in Hollywood. Later, it became a bigger thing as we started booking national acts, national concerts around the country. So now we are in a perfect world when things are operating. We are a company much like Live Nation, AEG, Golden Voice, and we also offer opening acts a chance to get on shows. So that's pretty much where we're at. So that's a little bit about me. Now you guys are going to be able to put your questions in there. I got Nelson and David are here. You'll see them in a second. But those guys will facilitate the questions below. And we're going to talk about really the state of live music and when it will return, when there will be, venues that will actually be open, how many people can go to these shows, what cities can you do shows in, will there be festivals, all that stuff. So we're gonna get into all of it. But first and foremost, I want to thank musicdistributionclub.com. Musicdistributionclub.com. They're kind enough to sponsor us for tonight's event. Check them out. They're going to be a sponsor with SHP for the next couple months. Musicdistributionclub.com. We'll go over it again later. But they are nice enough to do this for us. So the first question that we received is, do you think festivals will happen again? Well, do you think festivals will ever happen again? The answer, and these are all going to be my opinions, guys, because I've been doing this for a million years, and it's different. Different people are going to have different opinions. These are just going to be my opinions. Do you think festivals will happen ever again? I do think that festivals will happen. Coachella, Lollapalooza, those festivals will happen. The question is when and in what capacity. Do I think you're going to be able to go to Coachella in April? I don't. I don't think until everyone is either vaccinated or there are therapeutics that are available to kill this thing. I really do believe in the United States it's going to be a long time before there are massive festivals. Now, could there be 1,000 people at an outdoor festival next summer or spring? Possibly. If it's a big enough space and things are spread out and there's pods and whatnot, yeah, I do believe that there can be festivals on a much smaller level. But I don't think that any of us are going to Coachella in April. Again, these are my opinions. So festivals, to wrap it up, I don't think they're happening. They're obviously not happening in 2020. For 2021, best case scenario with a festival is that it's a very, very small capacity. It's outdoors, obviously, and it's probably a year from now. I don't see any festivals in April or May. I just don't see it happening. So, there's festivals that are going to be announced. I'm also an artist manager, so I manage an artist who's on a bunch of festivals. And we're on Lollapalooza, we're on Governor's Ball, we're on, Bottle Rock. And these festivals have been rescheduled to next year. I'm not putting a lot of faith in the fact that they're going to happen. 1,000 people in a big field spread out in pods, yes. 50,000, 100,000, my personal opinion, I do not see it unless there are therapeutics, Z-Packs, whatnot. But you're going once you have a vaccination, the next battle is going to be people don't want to take it, or they're anti-vax, or they're afraid of it not working. So once we do have a solution, the solution is a whole other hurdle. So I do not see festivals as we know them happening even a year from now at this date, end of July. The second question we got was, I've been looking into live stream events and how do I make money from them? And that's a really, really good question, because a lot of what we're going to have to do in the live music sector is we're going to have to get creative, because live music is on pause for how we know it. So how do you make money from a live stream? Well, there's a lot of different services out there, and you can do tips and whatnot. I think it's super, super important that you do a live stream, because none of us are doing concerts anytime soon, and we're going to get into that. It's just not happening, you guys. So a live stream, you can do that from your living room. You can do it from your patio. I'm doing it right now. I would suggest doing it. There's a couple ways to make money from it. You can sell tickets on PayPal or whatever, and you can do shout outs when you do your live stream. You can include merchandise possibly. But when you do a live stream, make sure that it looks good and it sounds good. But start gravitating into that world of doing live streams, because for the next year, that's going to be the world. Now, people have been doing them since March. It's out there. It's obviously not the same. You can make money from doing a live stream. You have to be strategic about it, and you have to be creative about it. Unless you're Rage Against the Machine and you just, put it up and everyone pays $10 to see you, that's different. But there are creative ways. Know your fan base. Try to have a party. You can make money doing live streams. And if you guys have questions, just pipe them in the comments, because I got the guys here and they're going to write down the questions and they'll feed them to me. The next question that came to us was, with a limited ability to network in person at events, how can I expand my brand and network? Which is a really great question. So obviously you can't do a show right now. You can't sell a t-shirt. You can't meet and greet your fans in person. And that sucks, obviously. But you can keep your brand alive by, we just talked about it, doing live streams. You can come up with creative ways to get your merchandise out there. People still want t-shirts, they do. We're selling them on our site. If you guys click our link in our bio, we sell the Support Local Music shirt. It's got our logo on the back. People are buying them every day. So, you can't meet people in person to show your brand, but you can do merchandising and you can do live streams. Another question that came to us was, what about drive-in shows? And drive-in shows, it's a really, really, really good question. So you see certain states and cities, they're already doing them. I think Brad Paisley did one, and there's a lot of the country guys are doing the live stream, the drive-in shows. And the feedback that I've heard from the drive-in shows was actually pretty good. People seem to be into it. Me personally, I'm not, but we might start producing them. We're already talking about, hey, we have this new world and we have to put shows on, so we may be doing, drive-in shows. But drive-in shows look to be, for right now, for the rest of the summer, the way to at least see somebody live. We're in deep conversations with some people in Hollywood area where we're from to do some drive-in shows. If you get offered to do a drive-in show, you probably should. I don't know if you're from, wherever they're doing them. If someone asks you to perform at one, do it, because that really is the world right now. And that's the type of stuff that we got to do. So drive-in shows, yeah, I think they're viable. I think you should do them. And I do know this, on the promoter side of that, they're very costly. So I know it sounds like, I just pay $40 or $50 or $100 and I drive my car in and I can BYOB it and all that. Yeah, you can. But the person that's renting out that parking lot, that's bringing security, that's setting up the sound and the stage and all that, it's pretty costly. So on the promoter side of things, drive-in shows are not cheap. So so I would, as a promoter, we're looking at doing it because it's part of it. As a performer, if you get offered to do one, I would absolutely do one, whether they pay you or they don't pay you. It's the closest way to see your fans right now in person. So I would definitely do a drive-in show if you get offered it. Somebody asked, what does it look like when concerts do return? What's it going to look like when they come back? And I think we can all kind of, at this point, we can all sort of, visualize it. Yeah, when concerts come back, there's going to be distancing, there's going to be masks, there's going to be gloves, there's going to be things in place, which, you already sort of know that. Do I think that 500 of us are going to be in a room sweating it out and going like that and all that? No, I don't see that for a minute. But again, like I alluded to earlier, things are going to be spaced out. Things are going to be reduced capacity. That's one huge thing that you guys need to know, that if and when things return, and some things may return in different states and cities on a smaller level than others. But when things return, the capacities, you already know this for a lot of you, capacity is going to be 20%. It just is. So if you're used to playing your normal theater in your city that holds 500 people, that's going to be 100 people. That's going to be 100 people likely for the rest of, well, obviously this year, and likely the full calendar year. So, it's going to be different. If you're watching baseball or basketball, you see there's nobody in the stands. Concerts are going to be the same thing. We'll hopefully get some capacity, but it's going to be reduced. And I do see masks. Even when it's reduced, I see masks, I see gloves, I see performers, I see stagehands having to wipe down microphones and equipment and all of that. It's just going to be a different world, even when there's therapeutics and vaccinations. It's just going to be different, and we just have to be prepared for it. It's just the world we live in right now. And so concerts, they'll come back. It'll be lower capacity. Be ready for that. This is a really good question. So somebody asked, should I release the same amount of music I normally do, or put a pause on things until they get back to normal? So here's the answer to that. The answer is put your music out. Don't wait for a tour. Don't wait for a live performance opportunity. Put your music out, but do it right. Don't be in a hurry. When your music is the way that you want it to be and the way that it feels, that's when you put it out. But if you're waiting to release your album and then book a tour, the tour is not happening. We're going to get into that too. But don't wait. If you've got good music and you want to release it, do it. But do it strategically. Everybody is making music. And you can't just make your music and then throw it up on SoundCloud or put it on your Spotify and say a prayer that someone's going to see it and hear it and it's going to get on a playlist. You really, really have to be strategic about how you release music, because all the bands are going to be doing the same thing. Okay, everyone's going to be like, oh my God, we got to get music out there or our brand's going to die or people are going to forget about us. And that's true. You have to get music out there, but you can't just throw it up and hope that someone hears it. You've got to be really, really strategic about it. One of the things that we're doing as promoters is we've changed our business model. So we bookbands.com. We can't book bands. So we have all these years of experience and all these contacts. So we are now transforming our business model into services that can help you get your music out there. So instead of just making an album, throwing it on DistroKid or TuneCore and hoping somebody catches it, you need to find niche ways of promoting it. And that's one of the things that we do. So we have marketing packages, we have PR packages. I do consultations, obviously, and I'm not trying to sit here and advertise us. I'm just letting you know what we do and what you should do, whether you do it with us or somebody else. But if you're going to release music, don't just put it up there, okay? It's a new world, obviously, and none of us are playing live in front of a lot of people anytime soon. So you want to be strategic about how you release your music, be creative. This all falls into the live stream type of stuff that we just talked about: merchandising, branding, publicity, PR, playlists, EPKs, bios, all that stuff. The time is right now to get all that stuff in check for yourselves, because if you don't, you're going to be way behind the game. And if and when stuff returns, which we already talked about, it's going to be lengthy, you don't want your music to be forgotten. It's just more now than ever is when we all need to be creative about how we're going to put our music out there, who we're going to bring into our teams to help promote that music, what types of services we're going to use. So release your music, but do it strategically. Do not just throw it up there. There's a lot of people are doing that, and it's not it's not getting looked at. So just be strategic. You guys need publicity help, or you need bio help or marketing help. We're offering that. Some of you are already taking advantage of it. Thank you. Some of you guys, we have this huge network, so we send out these email blasts to 100,000 people a week, and people are getting hits on their YouTube. People are getting emails back. There's industry on our list. So, on our end, I would look for companies like ours to help push your music out there. This one we sort of touched on, but this question was, what types of safety precautions should a touring band take if and when shows happen? So it's a good question, but I think we sort of all know, right? So if let's say you're in a band of 4 people and stuff starts to open somewhere and you're able to hop in a van and do a show in front of 100 people, it's pretty obvious. Wear gloves, wear a mask, have hand sanitizer. If you do meet and greets, you want to have hand sanitizer right there. People touching their phones and then shaking your hand is all sorts of bad. But yeah, if and when you're able to tour, you want masks, you want gloves, you want to make sure this mic is wiped down before you go on stage. 3 other bands use this mic possibly before you. So you want to make sure that it's all on point, and you have to protect yourselves. And guys, feel free to put your questions in the comments, because these guys are feeling.
We do have a couple.
Okay, I'm almost done with these 3, and then we'll take those. Okay. I'm going to answer everything, you guys. So you can ask us everything. You can ask us. We're going to go till 6 o'clock Pacific, so we got 40 minutes. But you can ask me anything about the business, about management. Obviously, we have a client that we manage that's doing really well, and we're proud of that, and it's been a lot of hard work. As an artist who makes most of their revenue from live shows, what should we be doing until they come back? Well, we just talked about all that. But just to reiterate, to make revenue as an artist right now, I mean, live stream, t-shirts, there's nothing wrong with doing those apps where you perform and people tip you on YouTube or whatever. That's cool. I would do those. You know what I mean? Do whatever it takes to keep the music out there, and if you can make a couple bucks, do it. As an artist, you are a business, and you own that business as an artist. So you need to run your business, and you need to get your art out there in the best way that you can. So come up with creative solutions, keep branding, live stream, publicity, marketing, come up with concepts, stay safe when you're doing it, but yeah, keep your music out there. This is a really good question. So again, when everyone asks, well, when the shows come back, what's touring going to look like? So let's talk about touring for a second. And I tell you this from the promoter angle, because our whole world is turned upside down right now. A tour like you would normally do pre-March could consist of 20 or 30 cities. Maybe it's 10 cities. Maybe you're on the road for a week. You're opening up for somebody. The problem that happens now with this whole equation is that when stuff does open up, some cities are going to be, hey, cool, we can have 100 people. Some cities are going to be like, we can't have any people. Some people are going to be like, we're not doing anything. So it's going to be very, 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 very difficult to route a tour. And as a manager, you know, it's frustrating to me because I have to route my client's tour. And some cities may be closed. I don't think you're going to be able to add LA into the mix. I don't think you're going to be able to add Seattle into the mix. I don't think you're going to be able to add Portland into the mix. San Francisco, you're not going to be able to add. So your booking agent or your manager or whoever helps you, it's going to be, that's a really good question on the live insurance stuff, and I'll talk about that in a second. So booking a tour is going to be tough. So strategic and tough, but I don't see a 10-city routed tour happening even a year from now. And right now, you have agents out there that are clinging to their jobs for life because they don't want to get laid off, and they're trying to book tours for next year. You can book tours for next year. There's no saying that they're going to happen. You know, we can all pretend, oh, okay, cool, you know, this festival got moved to June of next year. Well, we don't know. We don't know if June's going to happen next year. So it's impossible to book tours. What I suggest, if and when, whatever region you're in, if there are 3 cities that do open up and they're drivable, do that route. Do a 3-day weekend, even if it's limited capacity, even if it's 100 people, they're only allowing 100 people in each venue. Do a limited 3-day run in your section where you live, if you can. Because everyone's going to be dying to get out there again, right? So even if it's small, do it. If you can drive it, do it. It makes sense. Somebody just asked about the insurance side of live events, which is a really, really good question. What I can tell you as a promoter is we have general liability insurance, okay? So it's something that legitimate promoters have to have, okay? And really, for most of you artists out there, when you book a show, ask your promoter for proof of insurance, because if they don't have general liability insurance, they're not a real promoter. They're a party promoter. They're a bootleg promoter. Don't do it. Really, especially with COVID now. You want a promoter who has insurance. So the insurance game on live events is tricky because now all of a sudden there's I went to this show, and even though there was 100 people there, they had the air conditioning on and 10 people got sick. Our policy didn't have anything that mentioned that it was excluded from our coverage. But I would venture to say that there are insurance companies out there that are writing policies for gatherings, whatever they may be, now or next year, that are excluding that coverage. And that's really, really something that's got to be addressed on a local, state, and federal level. But either way you look at it, I'm telling you right now, do not do a show with bootleg promoters, especially right now. Do not do a show with promoters who do not have insurance, okay? I know it's enticing. Someone in your neighborhood is going to be like, hey, I'm throwing a little garage festival. Come over, blah, blah, blah. Don't do it, guys. Do not do it, not only for your safety, but odds are that dude or dudess does not have general liability insurance. So God forbid someone goes to that little bootleg show in the backyard and has a fever and has a cough and gets everyone else sick. There's no protection for you. So that's my take on the insurance. We have it. We're covered. Okay, we're not doing events, but we're covered. But don't do shows with dudes that do not have insurance. Okay, just don't. You're asking for it. You really are. Safety-wise and just business-wise. I know we all want to perform. Don't do someone's backyard jam. Just don't, okay? Unless it's live streamed, it's social distanced, the whole thing. You don't need to be around people to do that. Okay, I'm going to take some, you guys have some questions, and then we'll go through some more stuff. And you guys, if you have more questions, just pop them in the comments. Someone just mentioned the shirt. So the shirt, we started making this shirt in 2005. We had a retail store called the Backstage Pass on Melrose. So we're selling this shirt, and the profits, whatever's left of it, goes to help me pay for our employees that we laid off. I'm still paying their health insurance. So that's where the proceeds go to. So the link's in our bio. You can buy these shirts. We have other stuff. We have snapbacks with the logo. You can get all this cool stuff, and the proceeds go to my guys who are here, who are still, even though they're laid off, I'm paying the health insurance. Just ask me.
Cool. So, one of the people that are listening, a DIY venue I performed at in New York a few months back is doing socially distanced shows. Do you think that's a plausible option for venues to start doing once vaccines start being rolled out? So essentially, because New York has the best rate right now, like they have the least amount of people with COVID, so they're going to be opening up probably sooner than most people now. So this guy knows that a few venues are slowly opening. Like,
so is he asking, should he do them?
Should he do them? Is it going to be optional for other cities? It sounds like just.
Oh, okay. So somebody asked us. They live in the eastern part of the country, and they said, they went to a show a couple months ago that was socially distanced.
He performed it.
Okay. So somebody piped in and was like, "Hey, I performed at a show in the east that was socially distanced." That's great. If some of you are in different parts of the country, some of you are in different parts of the world, you can do that. In Los Angeles, we can't do that. We can't even have, at this point,
it has to be seated.
A guitar player outside. So if your city or venues in your city are doing shows that are socially distanced and they ask you to perform, yeah, you should do it. But I would do this. Again, this goes back to bootleg promoters. That's the term I like to use. If a venue in your town is actively doing socially distanced, low capacity shows, go to one first. Go there before you decide to play it or not. Go to that show, go to that venue, and see what the situation is. If you feel like, hey, I went there, it wasn't bad, everyone had masks, everyone had gloves, they changed out the microphones, they wiped everything down. If you feel comfortable, then do it. But again, my advice to you is to go to the venue first, see one of their socially distanced shows, and then make your decision. Don't just book it and hope for the best.
T-Loss just clarified. He was saying he lives in LA and flew out to NY and performed in February before any of this happened, and he just noticed they're starting to do shows again.
Yeah.
So I mean, essentially.
Yeah, same thing. But I'm glad we talked about it. It's like, yeah, if you're lucky enough to be in an area of the country where they are doing socially distanced shows, check it out first instead of just booking it.
One of the other ones we got was Be Original asked if reduced cap means 2 shows in one night.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So the question was if reduced cap, if you live in a city where they're going to do reduced cap, or when it comes available in your city, early and late shows. Yes. As a promoter, we have to look at that. We thought about a month and a half ago, we really did think things were going to return. And we knew they were going to return in a smaller capacity, so we were prepared for that. But yes, smaller shows, early show, late show. The key with that is not so much for us that are the unsigned local bands, but the national acts need to realize that the money that they got pre-March is different. And stuff's going to be smaller. Everyone's losing money this year, okay? Everyone is. We all know it. So the artists have to take less money when you play. Now, some of the bigger companies, the big ones, Live Nation, AEG, there's others, they're not even offering guarantees, okay? So even though shows are being moved and this, that, and the other, they're not necessarily saying to an artist who's worth 10 grand normally, hey, here's your 10 grand, you know, you're going to play March 1st, 2021. They're sending door deals based on capacity. So that's the other part of this. So for some of you who actually really get paid to perform, and when I mean paid, means you're worth tickets. You put a show on sale, people are buying tickets, you know what your worth is. That stuff, the money's going to change next year. Because, as someone mentioned in the insurance thing, the liability, the capacities are going to be reduced. It's going to cost more. We've already seen as promoters that it's going to cost us more to rent out venues because now the venues are adding in PPE fees. So when we already rent a theater that costs us $3 grand, $4 grand, whatever, and some of the places that we rent as promoters cost that much, they're now saying, well, we have cleanup fee, we have mask fee, we have disinfectant fee. So the costs to do a show are going to rise. So that's something. And so early shows, late shows, yes, costs are higher. And
You could tell them insurance was even going up in Phoenix, and they were, Pub Rock changed to 21 plus.
yeah, insurance is going up for promoters. So everything's going to go up and everything's going to be less, if that makes sense.
I think it was the last one.
No, we got a couple more. You've kind of touched on this, but when do you think we'll start seeing full venues again?
It's a good question. So the question is, when do I think everything is going to return to full venue? Let's call it pre-March. There's two ways that things return to a full venue, okay? The only ways that I see the path happening for you to go back to, let's call it the Troubadour in LA, which holds 500 people, or the Roxy in LA that holds 500 people. The next time any of us will be in those venues at full capacity is when A, there's a vaccine, B, it's as simple as taking a pill, going to your urgent care, getting an antibiotic, and you're good. A 3-day Z-Pack, okay? The stuff's being developed. It's going to happen. It will. But it's going to take a long time. So the answer to your question, when will things return to normal inside shows? It's at least a year away. And I hate saying it because this is our business. We book shows. So the sad reality of this is, my opinion is that, yeah, the normal stuff that you went to before March, that's at least a year away.
And I guess this last question kind of goes into that. What are our plans during COVID for, business and
Yeah,
shows?
totally.
And then do you think this year is just completely done?
Yeah. So first and foremost, so David just asked me this. The first thing is, do I think this year 2020 is completely done? The answer is yeah, I do. Now, the best case scenario for the remainder of 2020 is that somehow, some way, wherever you live, there are smaller things that are allowed. So I do think between now and the next 5-6 months, in certain cities, you'll have smaller things. I don't see anything over 100 people.
Unless the state legislature just doesn't care. Like some cities are doing the really big stuff.
Well, there's stuff happening that's not supposed to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. There was a big bike rally in, I don't know, it was South Carolina or North Carolina last week, and
Block party in Florida.
yeah, I mean, there's just stuff happening. This is a good question. I'll read this one off. But anyway, to answer your question, the best case scenario for the rest of the year is limited capacity, probably 20% of the venue's normal capacity, up to 100 people. That's the best case scenario for the rest of the year. That's my opinion. This is a good question. I'll read this one off. question. Why did you never buy your own venue, especially being the most important aspect of bringing business to venues pre-March? Great question. So I don't know if some of you might have missed this, but I've been doing this for 24 years. And I've always worked for guys that own bars. And so we're middlemen. We book you, the artist, and we rent out the bar, and we make everyone happy, and we pay everyone out, and whatever's left at the end of the night is what we make. Now, everyone's always said, well, how come you don't own your own bar and keep all the revenue from the beer and keep all the revenue for this, that, and the other? It's a great question. And actually, we had a close call about a year ago where we were offered a venue in the Bay Area to buy. And the deal was not bad. It was actually a pretty good deal. And had that venue been in Los Angeles, where we could just drive there and be there in 10 minutes, we might have done it. We might have been regretting it right now, but we might have done it. So really, the reason why me personally, I've never bought a venue, I've never invested in a venue, is I don't want the liability and the responsibility. And I've worked for, I don't know, let's say 100 venue owners over the years. And their margins of profit are smaller than our margins as a promoter. And I know that sounds really, really weird, because you're like, oh, well, they're open 7 days a week and they get the bar and this, that, and the other. That's all true. But they have such liability and such great expenses that their net profit oftentimes is 10% or less on what they put into it. So that, coupled with the general liability of owning a venue, you get somebody trips and they're falling out of the bathroom and they crack their head on the toilet, you have a lawsuit. Somebody gets a DUI, God forbid, somebody gets in a fight, someone cracks someone over the head with a beer, someone has COVID. That's why I never wanted to own a venue. So the easy answer is, oh, you should, but the liability is too great, and the return, believe it or not, is not great. That's in live music, because with live music, you have to program 7 days a week, right? You own a live music venue, you got to have live music. Now, you own a nightclub, you can open that 2 or 3 days a week if you want. You still have liability, but you can open that nightclub Friday, Saturday, Sunday and make your nut and be fine. So that's why I never did it.
Well, that's the end of the submitted questions.
Okay. So that's, if anyone else has more questions, just put it in the comments. But that was the end of the submitted ones. And I'm just going to tell you again, like, brand yourself, think of creative ways to promote yourself. We're here. I mean, we've changed our business model, okay? We're going to be doing some shows, but they're going to be different shows. They're going to be live stream shows. They're going to be drive-in shows. They're going to be really, really small. And when stuff comes back a little bit, there's going to be 2 shows in one night. That's the way we see it. But we're doing publicity for bands right now. We're doing marketing. See, the thing is, we have this network that we've amassed over the years. So we have all of the email data and everything to reach all these people that ever went to our shows for the last 20 plus years. So if you need a push, hop on our vehicle. It's there. Everything's in the bio. Like, you just click on it, and I do consultations because I have the time to do it.
We got another question.
Go ahead.
How do you think the lack of shows will affect the bottom line of bigger record labels?
That's a good question. So the question is, how do you think the lack of shows will affect the bottom line of bigger record labels? Okay. So some of you know I'm a manager, and this isn't about my client, who's actually doing really, really well. And I'm proud of it, and we've put a lot of work into it, and he's really doing great. Some of you are like, well, hey, I was on the verge of maybe getting signed or maybe getting a record deal before all of this. What I can tell you about the labels and what they're looking for right now and they were sort of looking for this already before COVID. But record labels, major record labels, they want what's already built, okay? And when I say built, I mean they want to know that you already have followers, streams, comments, real traction, okay? Pre-COVID, yeah, maybe, your music's so great, you don't have a lot of followers, but someone's willing to invest time and money in you and to try to push you. That's changed now. That's changed because there's no live traction right now. So what are the labels looking for? The labels are looking for somebody who's already making money off their music, and then they want to make money off you. That's the bottom line. It is. It's just true. The labels now, they don't have time or money to build you. You have to already be built, or you have to be co-signed to somebody already. It's the only way it's going to work. So you might be able to get a distribution deal. Somebody really loves you, and they want to sign you to a distribution deal, and they give you a little piece of money, not a lot. But yes, the record business has changed too with this, because they're being more select who they invest with.
Same guy's asking, are they losing money as a result of no shows?
It depends. So I don't know if you guys, some of you know what record deals are, and some of you don't. I'll go through it super quick. If you sign with a major label may give you an advance, and they will recoup that advance. And once that advance is recouped, they will, let's say, keep 80% of the profits and give you 20% of the profits. That's after they get their money back. So after they get their money back, you're going to get the short end of the stick. That's a major label deal. A distribution deal, and also with the major label, they own your music, okay? So the album you made, they own that. They own it for a long time, if not forever. A distribution deal, you're going to own your music. They're going to give you 80% of the profits. They're going to keep 20% of the profits. And they're going to program your music into the DSL, the services like TuneCore or Apple Music, whatever. And distribution deals are great, but they're going to take 20% of the royalties, and then they're going to add on services on top. Okay, so let's say you sign a distribution deal. You're like, cool, I get to own my music. I get 80% of the royalties. That's awesome. Well, the 20%, that's just them programming your music and putting it out there. You want marketing, you want radio, you want publicity. They're going to tack on to the 20%. So you're still going to get the lion's share of the cut. And if they give you an advance, they're going to take that back off your payout. But, they're going to add on to the 20%. So
It'll probably just take longer for you to really see your money again, since there is no revenue from shows.
it's just, yeah. So someone's question about that, the major label. So if you signed a 360 deal with a major record label, and part of that was them recouping money from the live shows, when there's no live shows right now, my guess is they're going to take it from somewhere else. So they're crafty with their contracts. So they're going to take it probably from your royalties. Since they're already taking from your royalties, I feel like they're going to take more from your royalties because they can't recoup from the live end or the band merch thing, really.
Another question: what feedback are we getting from LA venue owners? Are they going to survive? How many locally do you think will reopen, or how would they reopen?
Great question. So someone's asking about LA in particular, about live music venues. And this is why I'm glad I never bought one. You're going to see, not only in LA, but you're going to see around the country, that venues are going to close. That's sad. We have something in Washington right now that just got delivered to Congress. There is a Save Our Venues campaign for promoters and people that own music venues to get some relief. So we got it to Washington. It's called NEVA, and it's Save Our Stages. So some are going to go out of business. It just is. You've probably already seen it, maybe in your hometown, the so-and-so bar closed, or this, that, and the other. Some of them are going to go out of business. That's just like some restaurants. It's just part of it. It sucks. It just, for venues that solely rely on live music, that are the mom and pop spots that can't open for any other reason, they're in trouble. So if you see donations for them, or you see fundraisers or campaigns, or they're selling something online, definitely support them.
There's a couple coming through. How are these artist deals restructuring? She kind of, this girl, Brina Bott, touched on Live Nation not guaranteeing guarantees. So we did talk about that a little.
Yeah. So the big companies like Live Nation and whatnot, they're not going to give guarantees to the big artists. Okay. I manage an artist that's not. I mean, he's big. Some of you know him. But like, our guarantees are going to change next year. So it's just part of what it is. Money's going to change for everybody. Okay, money's going to change for artists getting signed. It's just going to change all over the place. What was the question? It was about Nipsey.
Yeah. So.
Okay, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me
Why they stay away from
why I never booked Nipsey. First of all, Nipsey was awesome. Okay, I loved Nipsey. I met him once at the Key Club. His sister used to come around a lot to our shows at the Key Club, and as an independent promoter, you have to be cautious about certain things, and there's just certain shows that you can't book as an independent promoter, because God forbid something goes wrong, they're going to pinpoint you for everything. Okay, it's just what they do. So I never wanted to be the scapegoat for something that could potentially go wrong. And if you look back in Nipsey's show career, there were incidents. There was one in particular in Phoenix at a venue called the Clubhouse that we used to do J. Cole at, and Kendrick. I did them both at the Clubhouse in Tempe. Some promoter kid booked a Nipsey show, 10 people got shot, and that venue never opened again. Okay? And that was a venue, like I said, where I did Kendrick, I did J. Cole, I did Yellow Wolf there, I did everyone there. And so there's certain acts that you can't book, and it's not because they're not good people. It's not because even their teams are good people. You get what I call drunk uncles. And drunk uncles are the dudes that go to shows that never go out, that they go to the show for the first time, or they haven't been to a show in a year, and they get all shit rocked and whatever, and they cause a fight or whatever, or worse. So as a promoter, you have to be careful about who you book. But I think Nipsey was a fabulous artist. I never booked him, and I was offered up until a year and a half ago to book him, and I never did it.
That seems like it's it for now. We got 10 minutes.
Yeah, so I want to, I'm still taking questions. You want to ask me about Kendrick or Cole or Big Sean or Kehlani or, I don't know, whoever you want. We did Juice World 2 years ago, yesterday in Seattle. We've really worked with everyone. We did one of Little Peep's last shows. Some of my most favorite shows as a promoter, I love Digital Underground. I'm old head, I love Digital. I love the early Kendrick shows at the Key Club. They were awesome. Kendrick would bring Q, and all the Top Dog, crew would come out, and we would do Ab Soul and Kendrick one night, and the next night would be Q and J-Rock. So, all these guys, there was a time around 2009 to 12 where everyone was popping in LA or was coming through here, and it was really, really great. So those were wonderful times, and I think things can return. That was the last time there was a movement really in LA that I saw. So it's really, really great stuff. Been very, very fortunate over the years to work with a lot of great people. I'm hoping we can do more. I think we will. And you got to keep on keeping on. I'll tell you this. Oh, here's loved when you booked Mobb Deep at House of Blues when Prodigy came home. Yep. So we booked Mobb Deep. It was the first show in LA when Prodigy came home. and it was sold out. House of Blues. I believe that's when Mobb Deep was on G Unit. I could be mistaken, but I think they were signed to G Unit. So Mobb Deep sold out House of Blues Sunset Strip, 1,100 people, and they didn't go on until like midnight, and I got in a lot of trouble because House of Blues always had a sound curfew. But all the Lakers were there, all the basketball players were there. It was really cool. So Mobb Deep was awesome. I'm going to tell you guys a little secret on who my greatest misses were, because people are always like, who do you wish you would have booked that you didn't book? And there's two great misses. The first one is Kanye West. And I say that, oh, you want to come over here? Come here. Okay. So Kanye West, because he's relevant right now, right? So we got a call. This was, I gotta believe it was probably 2001 or 2. When was his first album come out? When did he graduate? It was College Dropout? What was the first one? College Dropout?
Yeah,
Okay.
Dropout, yeah.
So I want to say 02, College Dropout, Kanye West, Los Angeles. So we had started, we were buzzing as promoters. We were indie promoters. No one was doing hip hop, okay? In Los Angeles in the early years, they wouldn't let anyone do hip hop. So we got a call and someone said, hey, do you want to do Kanye West at the Coconut Teaser? It would be his album release party for what did we say it was? Graduate? It was College Dropout. So do you want to do College Dropout, Kanye West? And they said, well, I pronounced it wrong. I said Kanye. And so I asked my team, I'm like, I just got this call to do Kanye West's album release party for College Dropout. Do you guys want to do it at the Coconut Teaser? And basically, we didn't know who he was. It was only $3,000, and we turned it down. So I didn't do Kanye West. We didn't know who he was. It was 2002. We were just getting into hip hop, and we were doing, Digital Underground and Coolio and guys like that and Slick Rick. So we just didn't know. The next thing that the greatest miss was we got offered Lady Gaga. And I got a call to do Lady Gaga at the Temple Bar in Santa Monica. And some of you old heads will remember the Temple Bar in Santa Monica. It was a venue that really only did soul and R&B and like the Far Side, like really cool programming.
Some guy just mentioned Far Side.
Yeah, so we someone's saying Gorilla Black. Yeah, we did Gorilla Black. So we got offered, someone called and said, hey, do you want to do Lady Gaga? She's like the #1 club act in New York. She's out here, and it was $3,000, and she only does 3 songs. And I was like, and she goes to CD. And I was like, who? Lady Gaga? What? I'm not paying any chick $3,000 to do 3 songs to a CD. And this is, I don't know, 2005 or 4 or earlier. So Lady Gaga was a great miss too. So we never did Lady Gaga. I saw my dude Adrian Miller in here asking about Anderson. So we had Anderson on. We've had Anderson a couple times in the beginning.
It was a lot, yeah. He opened for Kehlani, he opened for Janae.
Yeah, so we had Anderson on the Kehlani tour, Kehlani's first headlining tour. We had Anderson on something else too, small. It was a lot smaller.
Did we ever?
We had Anderson on a Janae tour.
He did something else at the Roxy.
Yeah, we had Anderson on something that we did at Brick and Mortar in San Francisco.
You were saying you did a co-headline or something with him?
Adrian would know if he's still here about the Anderson stuff. Yeah, Adrian, there he is. So yeah, I've been so fortunate to see guys like Anderson and see Kendrick and all of TDE and Big Sean and J. Cole and Coda the Friend. I've been able to see these guys blossom, and we've been no, we never booked Nas. Someone asked about Nas. We've never Anderson .Paak, and yes, it was Brick and Mortar. Yeah, I mean we've really we've really worked with just about everybody, and if we haven't worked with them, they've been at one of our shows. The only people I can tell you that I've never seen at one of our shows, Nas is one of them.
No, Nas was at Dave East and Los Globos.
Oh, never mind. We had Nas. We had Nas with Dave East at Los Globos. Nelson reminded me. Never had Eminem. Never saw M at any of our shows. I've never had him. I wish I would have gotten him because he played like the Whiskey and the Key Club Eminem when he first came out, and he was freestyling on Power 106. We have had Diddy. We've had Diddy perform, and we've had Diddy at our shows. He used to come to the Machine Gun Kelly shows. Yeah, Diddy would come. Diddy would come to the shows. We've had Dre. Some of you have seen the iconic black and white picture of Dre at the Kendrick show. So we've had some real heavy hitters. We've never. I don't think we've ever had Jay. We've never had Jay-Z. Yeah, we've
Someone
never.
asked about our best story with Quick since we've booked him a lot.
Oh, okay. The best story about Quick. So someone's asking us if this cuts out, guys. We're going to do another one of these soon. So we're going to keep going until it shuts off. And before I get into the quick stuff, I want to thank Breakpoint Booking at Breakpoint Booking on Instagram. Occidental, they're helping us out. Occidental LA, these are all their Instagram holds. Music Distribution Club at Music Distribution. You can get one of these cards at Music Distribution Club. They pay you out on your card fast if you do distribution with them. New Classic Show on White Label Radio. They're one of our sponsors. Their Instagram is the New Classic Show. I believe they're mixing classic artists with new hip hop artists. So all of our sponsors, we only have a minute and a half left, but I'm gonna tell the quick story real quick. We used to do Quick once a month at the Key Club, and one of the times he was performing, and one of Sugar Free's managers or guys behind Quick on stage got into it with DJ Quick. So Quick was rapping, and one of Sugar Free's dudes behind him was giving him shit. So Quick continued to rap and then socked the dude in the face and then kept performing. And everyone saw it. There were 500 people that saw that. So Quick's rapping, one of Sugar Free's dudes giving him lip, and he goes pow, and he socks him in the face, and he keeps going. So that was probably the best DJ Quick story. Although I've done DJ Quick probably 50 times. Love that man. And when we have our 25th anniversary party next year, he'll be a part of it. So you guys stay positive. For those of you putting music out, keep grinding. We're here to help you. Okay. My company right now is here to help you with promotion. We're here to help you with PR. Publicity is expensive. We're doing it cheap. We're able to do marketing, and we're going to be doing some live stream shows and some drive-in stuff. So get on the newsletter. All the links are in the bio. I got Nelson and David here. If you want to pop behind me real quick, you got 30 seconds. Wear your mask, socially distance. Here's the guys. There's David. There's Nelson.